Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from. We are here today with the fine folks from Syncro MSP. We've got Andy Cormer, who is the Partner Development Manager, and Brandy Crown, who is the Director of Sales. How's everybody doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
That's wonderful. I'm glad to have y'all back and do this live stream demo here. So I am, just for the record, I am a Syncro user in our MSP. We love the platform. It's very robust, does everything that we need it to do. So I'll be interested to see what's new. Maybe I can learn something new today. But well, Brandy, we'll start with you. Where are you from?
I am from Oklahoma, small town Oklahoma, but I actually live in San Diego, California now.
Okay. So San Diego. So what's the weather like in San Diego right now?
Do you even need to ask, Scott? It's beautiful year round. It's perfect.
Do you have shorts and flip-flops on?
Every day. I live in flip-flops. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, I'm in South Carolina, and I must admit I wear shorts year round. So even on Christmas Day. So
I wear long sleeves to make everyone else feel good that like it's fall here too.
There you go. And how about you, Mr. Andy? Where are you at now?
I moved to Texas 2 years ago, McKinney, Texas. I've been in Vegas for the past 15 years. So the weather is depend on who you ask. If you ask me, it's cold as hell here. If you ask everybody else, we're like, oh, it's so nice here. But being from Vegas, I struggle with the cold, man.
All right. Sounds good. Well, that's a lot of a lot definitely there. So let's get started. Would really love to learn about Syncro, and I'm sure we have some viewers, some members who are interested in the platform, maybe hasn't reached out yet. So let's dive in.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen with you guys. Just take a second for me to get set up. Are you guys able to see that?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Scott. I am Brandy, the Director of Sales over here at Syncro, and I am joined by a wealth of knowledge in the MSP space. I know we met him for a minute, but I want to hand it over to Andy to introduce himself a little further.
Well, hey, everybody. I'm Andy Cormier. I'm the Partner Development Director here at Syncro. I have some pretty deep-seated roots in the space myself. I previously owned a consulting firm for about a decade. We did a lot of work with MSP-centric products in the space, RMMs, PSAs, CRMs, things like that. And that's actually how I met Syncro. Also started up an MSP from scratch, grew it to about $4.5 million of revenue before we sold it off 6 years later, give or take. One of my roles here at Syncro is really to ensure that partner MSPs on our platform become the most profitable MSPs on the planet. And that's something that I take very, very seriously. And so we're going to show you some of the ways that we do that here in a bit.
Thank you, Andy. And to give you guys an idea of what to expect today, we're going to start by covering 6 highlights of Syncro, so you know what we're about and who you'd be working with if you did decide to partner with Syncro. From there, we're going to dive into a live demo so you get a small taste of what we have to offer here. And don't worry, we will definitely save plenty of time at the end for a Q&A. And speaking of Q&A, there will be a post in your live stream event that you can go ahead and pop your questions in there, and we will hold those for the end and make sure we get to those.
Excellent.
The first thing that we want everyone to know is that Syncro is a full-blown PSA, RMM, and remote access platform. So we're not going to be 2 separate products that were made to integrate with one another. Every single element of Syncro directly interacts with the other. We have one interface, one database, and one login. We often say here at Syncro that we're a platform created for MSPs by MSPs. And because of that, everything we build is tuned specifically for MSPs. Every feature that Syncro builds and delivers was designed for businesses just like yours. When you hear of an all-in-one platform, oftentimes it makes you think of something that might be a mile wide and 6 inches deep. And that's not what we do here at Syncro. Not only is our RMM, PSA, and remote access functionality fully featured, but every element of what we do interacts with every other element of what we do. So for example, scripts can create tickets. They can even record billable time as well. Recurring invoices can go dynamically count any clients, employees, or assets and bill accordingly each month without you having to manually count anything. You can enable work from home scenarios for your clients using our remote access functionality with Splashtop, and even dynamically count and bill for those as well if you would like to. So we know you all have tools that you cannot live without, and the great news is that you don't have to. We have over 50 third-party integrations that we are laser focused in the MSP space with integrations such as Bitdefender and Webroot for antivirus. We have Acronis for backups, QBO and Xero for accounting, and multiple payment processors. They're built right into Syncro, so we will win you back more time than any other platform on the market.
Now, when we said prior that we're a platform designed by MSPs for MSPs, that really spills over into every facet of what we do here, and that includes our pricing. So when you're a product built by MSPs for MSPs, something amazing actually happens. You can believe in your product. And when you believe in your product, you do not believe in forcing your partners into long-term contracts. You believe in the ability to earn their business every single month without exception. And in fact, the moment we stop earning that business is the precise moment that you should be able to take your business to someone else that does. That's a core tenet of what we believe here at Syncro. So when you work with a platform that can only grow if you grow, we award you with things like unlimited endpoints, no contracts, no minimums. There's no forced onboarding fees anywhere to be found. So when you land that next big client, you're not going to see us reaching out our hand like this asking, hey, where's our cut? Doesn't work that way here at Syncro. One of the best things about Syncro is our ease of adoption. We have plenty of tools to help migrate you from virtually any other platform on the market, and it literally lets you get started in minutes. And that's a far cry from other platforms that force you into paid onboarding sessions before you've even had the ability to use it and fully vet it. Our platform just makes sense, and we are miles away from anyone having to attend a university in order to use it. In fact, this is why G2 ranked us the fastest time to ROI out of every single RMM on the market. That's one that we're quite proud of. Now, Syncro wouldn't be where we are today without our community, which is why we love to interact with our partner MSPs on a daily basis. We've got our own Syncro Facebook group with roughly 3,000 MSPs. We also have our own dedicated community forum where we regularly interact with our partners as well. We are very keen on listening to our users, and virtually every feature we build is comprised of the most popular requests coming direct from our community. And we've got over 4,100 MSPs on our platform worldwide currently using the Syncro platform, and we are consistently recognized for our achievements. The one that matters most, of course, is the one that says, we are the MSP platform that users are most likely to recommend. And that's why we've got such high scores on G2 and Capterra. And we definitely encourage anyone interested to go have a look and see what our MSP partners have to say about us. Now, another thing we won recently from G2 was that we are the easiest to do business with. And this is, again, one of those reasons. We have a fully fledged 21-day trial. There's no credit cards to put in. You don't have to change your phone number because you're worried about getting inundated with 25 sales calls, which I know is something that happens quite frequently in the space, unfortunately. We really just want you to see what it is that we're doing here. We'll also offer you a personalized walkthrough based on your specific business needs. We don't do anything canned here at Syncro in that regard. So, okay, we're going to go into an overview here. We're going to cover 4 or 5 areas of the platform so you guys can see for yourself. And then the second half of the hour, we'll take any and all questions that you all might have. So again, in the live stream in the ITBOG Facebook group there, just go ahead and start typing in your questions there. We'll get them to them in the second half of the hour. All right, so I'm going to show some scripting stuff here. Give me just a second to throw my screen up. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties here. Live demo. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So one of the standout features of Syncro is scripting, and that may sound kind of dumb because every RMM does scripting, but I'm going to show you what makes us different. And we have a mantra, power through simplicity, and this is a great example of how that works. So some basic things, you can set up custom categories and then define scripts as one or more categories so you can easily find things. You can also mark them as a favorite. So anywhere in the platform that you need to run a script, you can just pull up a list of your favorites. So if you've got hundreds or even, we've seen thousands, like just crazy amounts of scripts, this is a way to quickly grab the stuff that you're going to use most frequently. And then this is a very interesting feature as well, this customer portal feature here. We have a full-blown customer portal for your customers to access all sorts of facets of their needs. So as an example, they can go on, they can create tickets, they can respond to tickets, they can view all their pending invoices, they can even change their billing info or even pay invoices right on the customer portal. Another facet of that, and this is completely permission-based, so if you don't want them accessing it, they don't have to, but you can allow them access to their own machines, and you can even enable certain scripts to be available in the portal. So if you've got someone tech savvy at that particular customer, they can actually go on and try to like tier 1 support their own problems with scripts that you give them access to. Very cool, very powerful feature. You can, of course, add files to scripts. If you want to have like deployments for any number of software you want to deploy silently. We've got a bunch of different script types. We've got PowerShell batch VB script. We have a full-blown Mac agent, so we've got Mac scripting as well. Running things as system and the logged in user. And we also have a very cool maintenance option that we built in here maybe about 12 months ago. So folks that typically will put a machine in maintenance so it doesn't fire off a bunch of alerts while you're rebooting it or doing updates to it and things like that. We actually took that and we built it into scripting. And the reason we did that is because a lot of times you don't want to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning running this kind of maintenance on your machines. And you certainly don't want people being notified of down servers and things when you know what's going on. So what you can actually do is you can have the script start maintenance mode for any duration you want prior to the script starting, and then it'll time itself out, turn maintenance mode off, and you'll begin getting alerts again. If you want to get real precise, you can even enable maintenance mode for the duration of the script. So if you have some real dog machines where a script that should take 60 seconds is taking 10 minutes, that maintenance mode will be enabled for that entire duration. It flows dynamically, which is another very cool feature. One of the strongest assets of our scripting is our script variables. So we have 4 different variable types that you can enter. The first one is called platform variables, and this is far and away the most powerful feature that we have here. This lets you take any field, custom or otherwise, from the machine, from the customer, from the contact, from your own Syncro instance, and bringing it into your script as a variable for you to use. That value is there for you to use. There are literally hundreds of different fields here that you could throw in here and grab. We also have password fields. So if you want to add a password to a script, but you don't necessarily want to expose that for your technicians, you can do that as well. Now, when you've got a runtime variable, which is this one at the bottom, this is just for you to enter in some variable yourself at the time you run the script. It could be whatever you want. And then we have a drop-down variable right above this, which lets you take that a step further. So I'm sure everybody's had this scenario where your tech fat fingers a variable, it bombs the script, doesn't do what it's supposed to. Well, now you can actually make predefined values, and they can only choose from one of these. You can even set the default one if you wanted to, so they know they're supposed to use this unless there's some other need. So the last thing we have, and you'll find this below your script editor, is our PowerShell Quick Help, or our PowerShell module. What this is we have a full-blown public API, and sometimes using an API to perform really cool things is difficult through PowerShell. So we made that super easy. We put a bunch of one-line commands in here that will interact with the API without you having to understand how to code that yourselves. This can be something as simple as just displaying a message for the end user to creating your own custom RMM alert that you can then remediate in any way you want, which means these scripts can do anything end to end, including the remediation component, because it works off a completely custom system. There's all sorts of stuff in here, from opening tickets to adding ticket time on tickets, adding custom comments on tickets, and you can put these things together as well. So we have some users, this was super cool when they were showing us this. They will run a maintenance script at night while they're asleep. They will add billable time based on the duration of that script to a ticket. They will close the ticket, and they will literally wake up the next morning with just resolved tickets with billable time on each one. They just convert to an invoice and bill out, all while they slept. This is another very cool facet of Syncro.
Very nice.
Yeah, that one's that's kind of like a fan favorite. You know, we even had somebody that was they built it in where when customers were late to pay, they made a custom field that said, hey, we're late to pay. And what it would do is it would check that. And if they were late to pay, it would just fail to run the script. So they didn't have to like delete scripts or reprioritize anything or put different policies on. They just check that box. We actually like that so much that we built that into the customer records now. So if you ever want to disable scripting, it's just the click of a button. Another example of where we're taking great ideas from customers and just building them into the platform. Running a script is actually just as easy. Now, if you want to do it as a one-off, you have a bunch of options here. You can just run it against all your devices if you wanted to. We have a pretty complex saved search system, so you can have any kind of criteria you want and make a saved search out of it, and then you can run a script just against that. So very base level, if I just want to run it against my workstations or my servers, I can go ahead and do that. You can also run it against every asset that belongs to a customer. And then we also have a very detailed policy inheritance model within Syncro, which will inherit policy items from different trees as far as your asset policy goes. And you could even pick a very specific policy folder and have it run to all of those. You could even include nested folders, which is like run it against this folder and every folder that falls underneath this. This part's pretty cool too. And then lastly, we're looking at an asset policy here, specifically the scripting component. And there's two elements of this that are very, very powerful as well. The first is script schedules. So within your policy, you can say, okay, as an example, we've integrated with Acronis. So here we have a backup job health monitoring script. I'm going to run this daily. I'm going to run it at 12 a.m. And then you can even set your custom variables here too. So if I don't have a successful backup in 5 days, this is always going to let me know on any asset out there that belongs to this asset policy. Now we also have setup scripts, and this is more for keeping compliance. Whoops. So as an example, every single time a machine gets added to this policy, I want to run the script that says install my default software packages. And I want to say, when do I want to do that? Well, if it never ran before. If it ran before, I'm okay. It probably did its job. I also want to set the default power and reboot settings. I can't tell you as an MSP how many times I would go to do something late at night and the end user like shut the machine off, they rebooted, it didn't come back, any number of things that just jacks you up at nighttime. It's super annoying. So this one I'm going to run always, which means every single time a machine joins this policy, it doesn't matter if it lost the policy, added it back, we're going to go ahead and reset this for them. This is how you can maintain compliance and then also consistently run the same style scripts over and over on a schedule. I'm going to pass it to Brandy for the next one.
Awesome. Let me just share this with you guys. It is time to show off one of my absolute favorite features in the entire system. So this is going to be the automated remediation section. And because Syncro is a fully embedded PSA and RMM, it allows this module to be extremely powerful. It's going to connect the two, and I call this in like an automagic way. So it also happens to be one of those modules in the system that enables you to make money in your sleep. I know that's Andy's favorite thing. So
mine too.
Yeah, see, Scott, do you use automated remediations today, Scott?
No, but I am going to be taking notes on this definitely.
All right.
And
Okay,
we're going to be adding that.
Yes. So in this section, you are able to create automated actions based on specific conditions. There's tons of different options here. So I'm just going to show you a very simple example. So here you have a full list of different types of conditions here. So I'm going to set the trigger category just to say, hey, this device has low hard drive space. And you know what? There's no reason for you to spend any time and effort here if we can solve it quickly without you lifting a finger, truly. So I'm going to have this set to say, hey, let's run this script. Let's clean the temp files and let's clear the alert. We could be done with this. Nobody ever even has to know the customer, like the technician's not getting notified, the customer's just cleaning it up. No one's lifting a finger. Now from here, you could have this script fire another automated remediation if the problem still exists after this script runs. In that case, you might want further actions to occur, right? So in that case, maybe I want it to create a ticket and I could have this auto assigned to a specific technician. I can set the priority. You can pre-fill all of these ticket fields. And maybe we want to take it a step further. We want to email the technician. We want to create some private notes and public notes. You can do all types of things in here in the ticket section. So maybe even come in here and say, hey, let's post to our internal teams in Slack and let us know. And you can do this for anything. I'm not just specific talking to this low hard drive space monitor, but a couple other things that I want to mention in conditions. There are things like if I want to say, hey, if XYZ happens 5 times in a day, I could set a rate limit. I can also have these different conditions be inside or outside of business hours. One example, I have a customer who told me, hey, I have it set up to in the evening, it goes to like my on-call technician. So I could say if this happens outside of business hours, then in that case, I want it to convert into a ticket and assign it to that specific on-call technician. So there's a ton of different options that you can do here. I love this section. It's very simple to set up. Scott, this is your #1 thing to do as soon as we hop off today.
I'm doing it. Who doesn't like making money while they sleep?
That's exactly right. That's what I'm saying.
And this was super cool. This was a huge annoyance of my MSP, and I'm sure most MSPs will say the same thing. Waking up, going through your tickets, looking at your alerts, and finding that half your alerts are garbage to the point where you don't even trust them because they're just noise at that point. They've resolved themselves, fixed themselves, they triggered something else. This is designed to eliminate all of that. You can even do it per customer if you want. Super customizable. That's super cool stuff.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to switch over to recurring invoices. This is another one of my babies, and I absolutely love it because this is where you get to collect money. Can you all see my screen?
Hmm?
Cool. I said y'all too, Scott, so I think I've already made that.
Yes.
That Southern drawl.
Yep, love it. So one of the very cool things about Syncro, again, is that we design everything in order to save you time. And of course, we rely on you at that point to go off with that time and go sell stuff. Like if you're not selling stuff, I'm not doing my job if I give you a bunch of time and you're not utilizing it to the fullest of your ability. But this is an area where we will save you a ton of time, which is automated billing. And the reason we can save you a ton of time is because the way our recurring invoice system works, we will dynamically count virtually anything. And that means at the time the invoice fires, we can go and find exactly how many machines a customer has, or how many employees they have if you're billing by employee. And we will bill out that exact amount times whatever you want to charge per item. In the next month, if you increment or decrement machines, or you increment and decrement employees, we don't care, and you shouldn't either, as long as you're keeping up in the system and your the amount of assets and employees you have there is accurate. This will automatically update the count itself and adjust the invoice accordingly. So here's a couple of the ways that we do that. We have an asset counter. So as a very basic example, I would, as my MSP, you can do this however you like. I'd bill it under labor. This is basically a contract where I want to bill $100 an asset. So I can do it fixed if I wanted. This is how most systems work. And I say, okay, I'm going to bill $100 every machine. So they're going to get billed $500 a month. I know everyone who's listening to this has either realized that they've been giving their customer free stuff for the past 12 months and didn't realize. This happens with AV licenses, Office 365 licenses, or your customer is going to be the one that catches it because you're overbilling. They'll always notice that. They may not notice the underbilling component of it, but that's the way it works. And again, this kind of sucks. It's a lot of manual management. This isn't something we want folks to do. So you can actually look at any kind of asset type. This is stuff that I have added into my system. We're going to look at Syncro device, which is any device that has the Syncro agent installed on it. But you can also add your own custom devices. So if you want to charge for printers or networking equipment or whatever you wanted to do, we can dynamically count that as well. So what this is going to do, it's going to say, okay, I'm counting 12 machines this month. Great, $1,200 line item on their invoice. Next month, if it's 10, $1,000 line item on their invoice. It's going to happen for you. Now, I know everybody's already asking, well, I bill one price for servers and I bill another price for workstations. Cool. That's where you can bring in this saved asset search. So I'm going to bring up my workstation search, and it's only going to apply to this customer. And I'm going to bill everybody $100 for every workstation that they have. Now, I'm going to add a second line item, and I'm going to say, I'm going to bill everybody's server, or this particular customer server. You can do this on a per customer basis, $150 for every server. So it doesn't have to be the same price, and we can dynamically count as many things as you want on the same recurring invoice. Now, for folks that don't do managed services this way, they bill by employee instead, we've got you covered too. So, oh, live demo. Hold on a second here. Let me try that again. Okay, here we go. So same thing. We can say, I'm going to bill for $100 for every employee that you have. Now, that can be problematic if you have a large customer who's consistently like onboarding or offboarding employees, just a normal course of business. So you can even say, I only want to bill for employees that have a particular custom field value. So as an example, I added one for employee status, and I want to track people like when they've been offboarded. I want to know all the stuff I did for them in case the customer ever asks me, I have a history of that. Well, I'm not going to bill my inactive ones. I'll just set them to inactive in the system. So I'm going to say bill all the employees that are active, and this will just bill $100 times those. You can literally bill for anything you want. The last thing I want to show really quick is Brandy earlier on mentioned that we have our native integration with Splashtop. And one of the benefits of that is that this is free for all of your techs. There's an optional paid service, which is $5 per contact, which will allow your end users work from home access. And it's $5 per contact, it's not $5 per asset. So if they have 50 assets and they need to access all 50, you can give those rights to that person. It's the same $5 fee. And we will go in and we'll even count that. So if, well, definitely don't want to bill $100 for that. We're probably not going to do very well. But if we bill $10 a contact, this will dynamically count that, and it will go ahead and add it to every line item, every recurring invoice line item. We also have a couple other very cool features for MSPs that do these, and I want to go over these really quick as well. The first one is, in my MSP, we did a lot of hybrid work. We would either do like block hour contracts where the customers regularly went over their hour allotment in a given month, or it would be like, we're going to give you remote support. That's included for $500 a month. Every on-site service is $150 an hour, whatever it is. Well, it's super annoying and a super big time waster. Every single time I have an invoice, I have to generate it. I have to go through this approved post model. I have to send them all out, and I'm constantly doing that all month. Well, you don't have to with our system. So you can actually have recurring invoices designed to pick up any pending ticket charges that you might have, throw them all on one recurring invoice at any cadence you want. So this customer is like, hey, I want to be billed once a month for all your stuff on the 25th, you can do it. If the customer says, I want to be billed every Friday, without exception, you can do that too. This is what does that. You can even go in and say, I only want to do it for certain ticket statuses. So for me, I never billed unless a ticket was resolved, unless it was like super long project work. So here I'm just going to bill against the resolved tickets and leave everything else out. Also allows me to do sorts by any kind of information I want. So if you want this appearing a certain way on the invoice, you can do that too. Now I was talking about block hour contracts before, and the most common way to do that is to say, Scott's my customer. Scott gets 10 hours of service a month, and that's included for whatever, $1,000 a month. Now, if Scott goes over that, $500 a month. Sorry, I already lost Scott, so I think I had to drop my price here. If he goes over that in any given month, I'll probably give him a discount on those, probably $50 an hour, or based on Scott's reaction, we'll say $25 an hour, just so I can make sure he stays a customer. What this will do is, most times at the end of that billing period, if there's hours left over, they will expire and then they get refreshed on the next month. So this allows you to do that. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to, but this allows you to do it every time you're billing for that set of block hours. This will wipe anything that's existing and just start them from fresh. And then the last thing here is the keeping prices in sync. We get asked this all the time, where people get really, really into our recurring invoice system because it works so well. And they're like, oh, damn, I have to go change a price on this thing. Do I have to go back and change all my recurring invoices? You don't. As long as you've got this checked, it will keep these prices in sync with your current table of products. And then the last thing with our invoices is that we are fully integrated with multiple payment processors. So if you want to be billing against a credit card, you can store credit cards on file with every customer. You can also set up ACH with different customers. So if you want, your recurring invoice can also handle all the billing. So it's just going to invoice, it will bill them, and you're good to go, and you don't have to worry about anything on your own.
No, I heard something, or are y'all adding more payment processors possibly next year?
We are looking at it. Yeah, the one that we have an integration with Stripe right now.
Okay.
The big ask there is ACH with Stripe, which we don't have currently.
Okay.
So that's being added. I don't want to give an exact date. It's in early access now with some users, but probably within the next month or two, that will be available. So I know it's a big one. We integrate with WorldPay now, but there's a lot of Stripe fans out there. So that's the first one we're attacking.
Okay.
And then we've got a lot of folks in multiple regions across the world. So we are looking at other processors that work better in those regions of the world as well.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. Great question. Awesome. Ready for tickets?
Let's do it.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to walk you through just like a standard ticket inside of Syncro and what that would look like on your full list of tickets too. You are going to notice when we go through this that tickets inside of Syncro are going to look different. Most likely going to look different than a platform you're using today or a platform you've used in the past. And the reason why is because not only are you going to be able to add time and communicate on side of a ticket, of course, you can do that with any of them, but you're also going to be able to do RMM related tasks inside of the Syncro ticket as well. So the first thing I want to point out is up here on the top. I mentioned, of course, you can add your time onto a ticket, but it doesn't stop there. So you can actually click this add and view charges section, and anything that you have in your existing inventory or just on the fly, you can add any of those items right here onto this ticket. Product, services, and labor can all be included there. This next section you're going to notice are worksheets, and truly this is like one of my favorite things inside of a ticket because we just do this different than other platforms. Our partners really love these. It helps keep your business streamlined. If there's multiple technicians, you know that every step that you need to do on specific ticket types is going to be done every single time the same way. So for an example, if this was like a virus removal ticket, I have a list of items that I know I need to accomplish in order to finish this ticket. Now, when I hire a new technician, I know that they're going to do it my way without skipping steps, right? And I could also make these worksheets to where they have to be 100% filled out before closing the ticket. You don't have to do that, but you can. And another favorite way is like if you're onboarding a new customer, you may want to have, I don't think this is exact, but you may want to have like a list of things that you want to do. Hey, I want to add antivirus. I want to install the Syncro agent. I want to add the domain to my system. I want to set them up with security awareness training, and you've got a list of items. And this example is just like for an internal IT department. So maybe you have a new hire and you need to do all the things and set them up with email and get them a door tag and all that. So I really like worksheets. I just think it helps you streamline your business and make sure that steps aren't being skipped. And then out here to the left, I do just want to touch on the billing status. I'll talk about that here in a minute when I show you the full list of tickets, but this is great to know like what money you're going to have coming in. Is it partially invoiced? Is it fully invoiced? So I'll show you that here shortly. And then when I was talking about RMM related tasks inside of the ticket, this is awesome. So this little quick view modal here is going to be available from almost every single page inside of Syncro. You could be on an asset page, on a customer page, here inside of a ticket. This little quick view button that a lot of people don't know is here. If I click on that, I actually have it disabled right now to show the live preview of the screen. But if I wanted this to show me a live preview of the screen before I remote in, you can absolutely do so. I can also run a script. I can chat with the customer right here. And this is because I have this ticket attached, or I have this asset attached to this specific ticket. If you don't, no worries. If that asset already lives in your system, you just add it right here and you're able to do so, or just shoot them over the agent installer link here. So really, really easy to do that. But even like branching off into another new ticket is possible right here. Andy touched on recurring invoicing, but it doesn't have to be a recurring invoice, right? Any ticket, just with the click of a button, you're able to turn this into an invoice right here. One of the best parts is right here, line items. Hey, here are all of my tickets that have not been added to an invoice yet. I can assure you, we are not going to allow money to slip through the cracks here, right? It's like foolproof. You absolutely cannot get to the next step without saying, hey, do I want to add all of these onto the existing invoice? And you don't have to. The thing Andy showed would automatically populate if you added pending tickets, but this is a great way just to create an invoice right here on the fly. And truly, our MSP owners tell us that their technicians, as soon as they swap to Syncro, they're like, wow, I love being able to do every single thing start to finish on a ticket in one screen without having to hop to other screens. I can remotely access straight from inside of a ticket without leaving that page. And then the last thing I'll show you here is just a list of tickets. So, wow, that's a lot of tickets here. You can definitely organize this however you'd like. Two things I like to show: saved ticket searches. You can create these per technician. So if I want to just create one that I don't want anyone else to see, great. Otherwise, if it's public, your other technicians in the organization are going to be able to see this saved search. But if you only want to see your own tickets, or I only want to be able to see like non-billable, invoice, partially invoice, invoice required. Hey, I haven't invoiced them yet. I need to make sure I create an invoice for all of these tickets. You can create views that way. Of course, you can customize what these different headings are here, and then groupings. Oh, I have been at Syncro for almost 4 years, and it probably took me 2.5 or 3 years to realize that groupings were even here. So you can create these different groups that just make it look way more organized. So I could say, hey, first I want to group this by technician, and then maybe even status. I can apply this grouping, and now I'm going to be able to see, perfect, demo engineer has 3 that are awaiting a customer reply. He has 1 new, he has 3 that require a follow-up, and so on and so on. And you can do this by a lot of different groups here. So that's what I like to show. I don't think I missed anything there.
Yeah, I love that the pending charges on invoices, or on tickets rather. So for anybody who's kind of in that phase where you're growing, you have multiple techs, you're kind of in that in-between phase before you bring on that admin person, stuff can get crazy. Where like you're trying to do oversight of your techs, you might be adding billables to stuff that they did that they might have missed, and you don't have that real like person doing the admin billing yet. So it's awesome for that, because you can never really miss anything as far as billing is concerned with Syncro. We're really big on that stuff.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, last thing we're going to show, and I get that normally reports aren't like the sexiest and most fun thing here, but I will say I'm going to show you 2 different reports. Promise I won't bore you to death. This is our take on some different reports. So when I said before that we're designed by MSPs for MSPs, this is an example of what we're talking about. We don't do things because the space thinks it's how it's supposed to be done. For anybody who's migrated from platform to platform, you'll easily know what I'm talking about here. Like, there is no single definition that works for everybody in the space. So we just target the MSPs in our segment that really will benefit from what it is that we're doing here. So the first thing is the one that most folks are going to be accustomed with, and it's a executive summary report. This is what you're going to send to your customers to prove your value every month, or whatever it is, whatever cadence you want to do. A lot of folks will bring these in quarterly when they do a QBR with their customer. And we decided, instead of just Syncro determining what's important to you, we said, let's let the MSP determine what's important to them, especially because every one of your customers is different. No 2 customers are the same. One may think this information is the greatest, and another may not care at all. So we have a couple different types of blocks that you can add. This entire thing, you can move it around, you can add blocks and remove blocks. It's completely customizable. This lot of blocks is called visual summary blocks, and there's probably like 20 or 30 different ones in here that you can pick from. You can also further customize how they're displayed by total quantities, percentages. We've got ones that deal with outdated operating systems, and you can define what that means. If you want to support older stuff, that's up to you, and so you can define that. And then we also have these text blocks, which are more like counters. If you want to say that, hey, we did 100 tickets this month, 99 were met our SLA or whatever it is, all of that stuff can be detailed here. These also have maybe 20 or 30 of their own types that you can run. And then a lot of them even have more customizations. For instance, if you want to say, I want to look at my alerts. How many alerts did I do this month, last 90 days, whatever you want. Then you can actually pick the top 3 alerts. If you only care about some, just show some. You want to show them all, then you can show them in a list. Now, we also have other things. You can add static text to this. You can even add your own page breaks where it's going to break the PDF exactly how you want. We also have these list summary sections. And here you can list any type of thing you want, from assets, contacts to ticket specifics. So if you want to get real specific and say, like, these were the tickets that we solved this month, you can make your own saved search for it. We'll just do all tickets. You can add whatever columns that you want to this, sort them however you want. And you can even limit it. I want to show you the top 50. I want to show you all 500, whatever it is. And you can include that as a list in your executive summary report to your customers. Now, a lot of folks say, hey, look, I love your dynamic billing, but I have a couple of customers who are like, are you sure you're billing me for everything? Like, they always think that they might be getting overbilled or something to that extent. And you want proof. Well, this is the proof. You can add it right in the executive summary report, where you can say, show me all their workstations or all their billable assets or whatever you want. Same idea. You determine what columns you want, what order, how you sort them, and you can make as many lists as you want. You can do the same thing for contacts as well. Now, I'm not going to show it to you today, but we also have an alternate version of this report called the internal summary report. It's exactly the same model as this, but instead of being designed for a single customer, it's designed for you, the MSP internally, and it will be comprised of all your customers, all your assets, everything in one report versus just being specific to a customer. Now, the last one I want to show you is we just released this about a month ago, and this is another example of where we only want to build stuff that make MSPs money. We're just not building things to build them, and this is a great example of that. So I apologize for the data here. This is just staging data. So yes, you shouldn't be taking 24 weeks to solve a ticket. You're going to get fired super fast. Just ignore that part for this demo. But what we're basically doing here is we are not monitoring how long it takes you to solve a ticket. There are reports for that, but we are monitoring how long the quote unquote ball was in your court. And here's what we mean. Scott's my customer. Again, he sends a ticket and says, hey, Andy, this is broke. Cool. Well, now I have a problem. I have to fix it. The ball's in my court. Clock is ticking. Now, if I send a note back to Scott and I say, hey, everything looks like it's okay on my end, please elaborate, and Scott doesn't respond to me for 2 days, I shouldn't have that timer counting because the ball's no longer in my court. So it stops. Now, if Scott sends me a note at 9 o'clock at night, should I be penalized for the fact that I don't want to work at 9 o'clock at night? No. So you have business hours in Syncro, and we won't start the clock until your business hours start again. Now, what if it's a Monday and Monday happens to be Christmas, which is a holiday you celebrate? We have a full-blown holiday schedule too, and you can even add custom holidays. If your MSP celebrates something or gives folks a day off, we will take all of that into account. And then what we do is we determine across every type of ticket you have, how long was the ball in your court? And we create a baseline for you, which is this top section up here, which is your company averages. So here we've got 110 hardware tickets. Took us, again, fake data, but 1.88 weeks to solve. This was the total time it took to solve them. That's how we create the baseline. Then what we do is we go to every single one of your technicians and we see how they fared against your baseline. There's nothing more important as an MSP to finding inefficiencies in your business. And this is one way to directly target that without you having to figure out anything. So if we look here, this particular demo tech worked 4 of my 5 ticket types. Now on this one, the software one, they're right on par. They're 2% below average. That doesn't throw any flags from me whatsoever. These sure as hell throw flags. 85% below average, 79% below average. This person's overall usage is almost 100% below average. They're taking twice as long to solve tickets. Now,
something's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Something's wrong. And maybe Brandy, I hired Brandy and she's just ramping. So that's okay. Like that's expected. But if Brandy's been here for 2 years and I find out that she's taking twice as long, you need to have a conversation with Brandy. Now, Brandy's a superstar, so she.
Andy's hinting at me right now. I don't know.
But that's how this works. And so it's really designed to find your exceptions, both positive and negative. And another example of that would be, let's say that this demo tech was reversed and they're 83% more efficient than the rest of the company. Well, it might be a celebratory kumbaya or, hey, this is just a superstar, but it might also signal something else. And you could be losing money because you hired somebody that is vastly overskilled for the tickets that you're having them work. So you're putting like a tier 3 tech on tier 1 tickets. I would expect that they're going to blow through them faster than everybody else in the company. So I probably need to give them more responsibility, more complexity, start assigning them out to my VIP clients because they're just dominating this subset of tickets. Now, we did the same exact thing for customers. We made the same report for customers. So we have the exact same baseline. And what this is designed to do is tell you exactly where you're burning your resources. So I remember the very first contract I signed, I was so excited. I'm like, I'm the greatest. I signed this, I closed it. I was so jazzed. And I didn't realize that I was more excited to close the contract than I was to make sure it was a profitable contract. And that is a killer for all MSPs who think, I just have to have everything on contract no matter what. And then if you were to ask you like, hey, how profitable is that contract? I don't know. I really don't. And as you start to get larger and larger, your gut can no longer be trusted. When I have 10 contract customers, I have a good idea of what's happening and why. When I have 100 or 500, I might not have even worked with half of these people. I might not have been the one that closed them. So this takes each customer and it says, hey, this particular customer is burning 81% more resources than all of my other customers. You're going to ask yourself all the same questions. Do I have the right techs assigned? Did I misqualify this customer? Did I go in there and say, oh man, they know what they're doing, And they don't, and they're sending me tickets for everything, and it's making you wish you never went anywhere near this customer with an ACE contract. All you can eat, where they can ask ticket after ticket after ticket, and you're just burning resources. This is an extremely useful tool when you're about to do a contract renegotiation where contracts coming up. There might be customers that are so far off, you don't want them anymore. So one of the things that we believe in is that as an MSP, your one true asset is your time. And if you're blowing it to stuff like this, you can't sell it profitably to other clients. And the worst thing you can ever do is get locked into a long-term contract with a client that turns out to be massively unprofitable. So that's exactly what these types of reports are designed to suss out. So this has been a big hit, particularly with our larger MSPs that are really starting to get involved with efficiencies and monitoring that stuff. So that's another one that we're really proud of.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. Wow. All right. We've shown you guys a lot of different features today, but truly we have just scratched the surface of what Syncro can do for your business. We also include a fully featured chat module with tech assignment, async communications, full archiving. We do have a contracts module. I know Andy's talked about that a bit today, but that contracts module allows for customer specific pricing. We do have S&MP monitoring, no additional fees for that, it's all included. We have full support for policy inheritance. I know Andy touched a little bit on that today. And then one of my personal favorites, just a fully customized system tray menu. Very easy for your customers to contact you through the system tray menu, click of a button, create a ticket, attach a screenshot without them going to add it, upload it. It's really simple. They can chat with you from there, go to your website, see your hours, all the things. So before we get into the Q&A, I do want to we're going to drop our email address. So the sales@syncromsp.com email address goes right to my inbox. I promise I'll get back with you as soon as I can. I'm usually really responsive with that. So I'm sure some of you guys are going to be watching this later on throughout the day when we're not live anymore taking these questions. I promise you, just shoot us a message and we will make sure that, that we get those questions answered. If you're interested in a demo, you can email me. Caitlin also will be, I believe, adding our trial sign up link there in that Facebook group too. But I think we're ready to dive into some questions.
Yes,
There's any questions that are...
But before we even get to the questions, I saw you perking up on more than one thing we were talking about there. So do you have any questions for us, like based on what you just saw? I'm very curious about some of those facial expressions we saw going on.
Oh, are you talking to me, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So no, I'm completely going to go back and watch the recording of this, and I'm going to pause it. I'm going to let it go for about 30 seconds and pause it. It may take me 12 hours to go through it, but I am completely going to add so many things to Syncro. I feel like my Syncro instance is so vanilla now. I mean, everything that you have talked about, I haven't been doing. So you know, I'm just missing out on all the money that can happen while you sleep, and that's probably my favorite.
That's gonna be talking about that for the next month. I do have a question, Scott.
Sure.
What do you find? What's your favorite feature in the system?
You know, my favorite feature, just the ability to remote into a computer, probably. Yep. The instant remote support. So. Yeah. I like Splashtop. I have used Screen Connect in the past, and I think you have a integration with Screen Connect as well, right?
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's part of those. If you've got tools you love, you know and love, and you just can't get rid of them, our Splashtop is included. But if you do use Screen Connect or TeamViewer, you can bring that over. You can still remote in directly through Syncro.
Okay. Perfect. Well, Randy did have a question. Can you bill customers for recurring items, either pre or post? Meaning normally you bill on the 1st for the upcoming month, but in some cases you bill on the 1st for the prior month.
Yes. Yeah, you can do pre or post. It's a setting just in the recurring invoice. So yeah, just one drop down will get you set there. No problem at all.
Okay.
Yep. You can bill in arrears or in advance there. Good question.
And also, if folks wanted to do, I've seen MSPs do blended things, and even as an example, when we were saying like you might bill out your core contract, if you wanted to have a second recurring invoice that fires on some different cadence to pick up, you know, like all your pending charges and then do your monthly on the 1st or whatever, you can do that too. You're not limited to one recurring invoice per customer by any means.
Yep. Good question.
Excellent.
Do we have any other questions in the hopper there, Scott?
I see one other question in here. Do you offer a backup solution?
Oh, that's a good one.
You want to take it, Andy?
Yeah, Scott, I hear you talking, but you're muted. All right, well, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take the Acronis one.
Okay.
So yeah, we actually just launched a partnership with Acronis. So we have extremely aggressive pricing. We also are offering migrations. So if you are with another partner, another third-party vendor, and you want to move that to Syncro, we can do that. It just takes a couple days. It's a simple billing change on the back end. There's nothing specific that changes that you have to do. We have some scripts in our community library. That's something I didn't touch on, but we have a full-blown community library where you can share scripts with other users. They can import scripts into their own Syncro instance. There's over 500 scripts in there. It's pretty cool. Adding more every couple of weeks. We have 3 Acronis scripts there. There's 1 for silent deployment. There is 2 for monitoring the health of your backup jobs and monitoring the health of your backup plan. So for example, if you want to scan every day and say, hey, I had a failed backup, you want to throw a custom RMM alert like we were talking about before, you can do that. And then you can also do the same for, a lot of folks are shifting from monitoring for a failed job to monitoring from the lack of a successful one. If the machine was offline for 5 days, that's a problem. Or if it disconnected, that's a problem. Doesn't necessarily mean it failed a backup. So that's something else that we'll monitor for. Going forward into 2023, we're definitely looking at working a integration with Acronis. I know they're looking to build some things on our behalf. One of the things that we're looking at, not solidified yet, is bringing that billing that we were talking about into Syncro. So if you want to bill for every machine that you have, every server, every workstation, you want to bill per gigabyte. Even if you want to give like we used to do this where we'd say, okay, we'll back up to 50 machines, up to 5 terabytes of data. Anything over that, you're going to pay X. That's the stuff that we're looking to do. Yep, so that's definitely coming. And actually, I forgot to show it, but for anybody who is currently integrated with PAX8, especially for your Office 365 licenses, that's a big one. We have a full-blown integration with PAX8. So all that wicked stuff I was just showing you about how to dynamically bill for antivirus licenses, assets, contacts, whatever, you can actually now bill for anything coming out of PAX8. All their 1 billion SKUs or how many ever they have, every single one of those can be brought into Syncro, counted dynamically every single month, and billed accordingly. That is one of our best integrations. It's awesome.
Andy, can I go ahead and change my answer you asked earlier?
Yeah,
So
sure.
you brought it up. You said the community script. I
Yep.
suck at scripting, so that is my favorite feature, to be able to go in. I need a script for this on the fly, and then just go in and search for it. And chances are it's already there, especially if it's a popular script. So very cool, very cool.
Yeah, you can even see, like, if you want to know, I mean, like I said, 500 is a lot. You can obviously search through that, but you can see how many times other people imported them. So you can easily see, like, the add an admin it's like a super easy script, but everyone loves that one. It's not that it's hard to do, but you're right. If you're not like really doing the script and stuff every day, just to get the stuff programmatically correct is just annoying as hell. It's a bunch of testing. Somebody did it, save yourself the time. And that's one of the cool things about the Syncro community too, is I've done a lot in this space, and this, I'm not just saying this because I'm here now. Like, we have one of the best communities I've ever seen. And if you throw a question on our Facebook group, it's crazy. Like, you'll put it up at 9 o'clock at night. There's like 10 responses in 5 minutes. It's just
And
crazy.
people will write scripts for other, like, I've seen people ask for a script for XYZ, and someone's like, here, I played around with it. Here you go. You know, they're not Syncro scripts, but they get the job done for what they're looking for. People are really active in there.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, we've got 2 more questions. So Randy said that he's not a typical MSP. They don't manage endpoints. So he's looking more for a PSA more than an RMM. Does Syncro, would you say Syncro, I know that it's both, but would you say that Syncro focuses more on the RMM side or the PSA side?
No, we focus on the entire platform end to end. So that's one thing that and Brainy alluded to that earlier. Like, every time I hear someone say we're an all-in-one anything, I'm like, and you're crap at everything. That's not at all, like, that's the completely opposite of what we try and do. We want it to be full blown over here, full blown over here. So if you only use one element of that, for instance, we have a lot of internal IT folks that come aboard and they really don't care about invoicing. It's their own business. They don't need to do it. So they'll only utilize the RMM component, and vice versa. We have folks exactly in the same scenario as Randy's talking about.
Okay.
Who only want to use the PSA. So it should be full-fledged on anything you need. Everything that we showed today, you could use completely without the RMM if you wanted to.
And I always tell people you pay for a PSA in that case and you get an RMM free. So you can go throw it on your family's computer. You know, you're still able to update. Honestly, we have a lot of people who just strictly use the PSA or just use the RMM for whatever reasons, or while they're transitioning out of a contract from another platform, right? They're migrating over one at a time, and they're like, hey, I can still go monitor my own devices or my parents' devices that live across the country. So.
All right. Well, Randy's excited. He said, sounds like a sales call is in order to discuss our use case.
Love to
So
hear it,
Yeah,
Randy.
we look forward to chatting with you, Randy.
he said they definitely use the RMM internally for sure, but not for
Yep.
customers in most cases. But Derek Courts also has another question. Are you guys planning on having an export option for the credentials and documentation?
It's something being kicked around for 2023. It's not like officially on the roadmap, but yeah, we haven't had too many requests for the documentation piece, but we've definitely had it for credentials. So yeah, that's something that's being looked at.
Okay, excellent.
Well, if we want to wait a minute for a couple more questions, there's another feature I'll throw up here and I'll walk folks
Sure.
through.
Yeah, go for it.
Y'all see my screen? Oh, I said y'all again. I love this. It's great.
I'm rubbing off on you, Andy.
Yeah. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So this is the basics of our policy inheritance model. So it's pretty simple the way it works, but it allows you to manage any level of customer. If you have some giant customer with multiple offices all across the country, no problem. We can cover it here. You've got just a very basic, 10 machine office, you can cover that too. So basically the way it'll work is, this is written in a customer record. You can see here, we just have the name of the customer, training customer, and I applied this top level policy to it. What that means is I have one policy that is going to funnel down to every single folder I have, no matter how complex and deep this goes. This is basically stuff that I want every machine to have no matter what. So there's probably going to be some scripts I want in here. If I have like a customized tray icon that Brandy talked about, I want that. It's probably going to be in here. Anything that they just need no matter what is at your top level. Then you might have stuff that's specific to certain machine types. As an example, I probably have scripts I want to run on servers or things I want to monitor for on servers I couldn't care less about on workstations and vice versa. So you can segregate them by saying, okay, I'm going to make a servers folder and I'm going to apply a servers policy to this folder. So what this really says is I'm going to get everything at this top level policy folder. And you can actually see exactly what that is. We combine all of these into what we call an effective policy, and you can see it at any level. So if I show effective policy here, this is everything, and this is actually just the system tray. But this is everything that's coming from that policy. And then it will be combined with anything I have in my servers policy. So if I show the effective policy here, I guess I don't have anything on my server policy. That's my mistake. But it should have some scripts, and then it will have the same system tray stuff. Now, same thing for workstations. It's going to get everything in this workstations policy and everything in this top level policy. And then you can easily take, this is an actual machine that we have. So I can easily say, oh, this is in the wrong one, just drag and drop to here. Once I apply this, it's going to go ahead and recalculate all these different policy items and put what applies to where it needs to be. Now, this is kind of another example of that. And this is actually, I based this on a real life example from my MSP. We were in the West Coast, we were in Las Vegas, and this one customer decides to open up an East Coast office. Okay, no problem, except they come in 3 hours earlier, and we were consistently giving bad support, not because we suck, but because the time zone offset, we just weren't getting with it yet. So like they would open a ticket, we'd get in 3 hours later, we'd respond, they were at lunch. It was just like a huge chain of suck. It didn't work well. So we have a full-blown live chat module, which is super in-depth. It's a very cool feature in the platform. And this West Coast office used it religiously. Well, we actually had to disable it for this office because they would be opening up tickets and opening up chats, and they weren't getting quick responses like we were known for. So basically, on my top level, I had all the stuff I wanted, including my tray icon. And here I just said, okay, well, I'm just going to put this policy on it, and it's going to disable the tray. So anything in the East Coast office is disabled. Beyond that, everything is exactly the same. I still have my server policy on my servers and my workstations policy on my workstations. Now, in the West Coast office, I had the owner comment. He's like, hey, listen, I know you guys don't really do home computers, but can you do my home computer? Which is, they always ask that. So, okay, fine, I'll do your home computer. I don't know why this is, but every MSP on this call is going to have customers like this. It seems that the bigger the company is, the higher level people are less tech savvy. Don't ask me why. But this person would ask all sorts of questions, all hours of the day, and it was super annoying. So we did the same thing where this West Coast office, they need their tray icon. For this particular person, they don't need it. I don't want them sending me chats at 9 o'clock at night because they will do it religiously. So again, this is where I'm taking something like hiding a tray icon as a policy item, and I can apply it at the level of an entire office, or I could just apply it to one segment of that office. And this is how you can manage that. Again, everything's drag and drop. It's a super easy system to use, but extremely, extremely powerful, and especially as you start to get more and more complex customers that have more and more specialized needs.
Since you showed that, I feel like I need to show the system tray menu since you talked about it a lot in in the policy inheritance. So I just want to show you what it looks like for your client. So if it is somebody that you have it enabled for, this is your logo. It doesn't have to be Syncro's logo. It's absolutely yours. And then you can build out this list to include whatever options you want. If you wanted to have your phone number, your email, your website, if you're internal IT, I always tell people, put a link to like anything that I know we all use Chrome bookmarks, but anything that an employee might need to go to. Do they need to log their time? Do they need to go to HR? Do they need to look at benefits? You can include all of those links here in the system tray menu. If you're internal, otherwise live chat directly from here. Like Andy was talking about, boom, I can create a ticket that automatically attaches that worksheet based on ticket type. Click this button here. It'll include a screenshot of their image. They don't have to upload anything. So you can include as many options as you want, or again, just have one option to create tickets, but you could even have like 5 different options to create tickets, new laptop, I have a virus, whatever it is that you need to include here. So just wanted to make sure you guys could see that. Very customizable.
Actually, Brandon, I think we're rolling off each other now. Can you bring that back up? Because now you that's something else I want to talk about. Sorry, I feel like we could do this for hours just off each other. But basically what Brandy's showing you here is this is a web-based interface. So when we say remote access, a lot of people think that just means like Screen Connect or a TeamViewer where I can remote into a machine. Yes, you can do that. What she's showing you here is called our version of Remote Desktop. This is a secondary remote access tool that's web-based. And Splashtop is better than this, faster than this. But if Splashtop were to ever go down, or your Screen Connect were ever to go under maintenance, you always have a backup within Syncro. On top of that, we have a whole bunch of backgrounding tools, we call them. So there's a full-blown task manager where you can close stuff from here, a service manager where you can start and stop services or see what's running, refresh them, why. Full-blown event viewer with searching if you want to filter stuff out and find what's going on. System information is like kind of like asset information, just what's going on the system. Full-blown file system. You can even like zip files, add folders, create folders, delete stuff. If you want to upload and download files, you can do that as well. Registry editor, same thing, fully searchable, add, remove keys, whatever you want to do there. And then terminal, where you have both PowerShell and a command line prompt where you can basically just run commands in the background. So remoting onto somebody's machine to fix something is one thing, but if you have clients that are high liability and they just can't get off the workstation but have a problem right then and there, you can do 90% of what you need without physically having the end user see anything. All of this stuff happens in the background. So this is pretty much as beefed out as you can do it. We rarely even get feature requests for this anymore because it literally does everything. Very, very cool feature that we have.
I've got another feature that I like. Sometimes I utilize it. It's the send broadcast feature. Send broadcast message.
Oh, I love this. Now we're all ripping off each other.
I love, yeah, maybe we could be here for 2 hours, Scott.
Yeah, let me show that one because I think that's a great.
I love that feature.
All right, 1 second here, we're getting it up. All right. So basically where I showed you can run scripts, you can also do broadcast messages. Same thing I showed you before. You can target any number of machines, any specific types of machines. You can give it a custom title. You can give it whatever body you want. You can even say skip offline assets if you want. We will queue up scripts. So as an example, if you've got, let's say that you've got 10 machines and one is offline, and this is important. So as soon as that machine comes online, you want that script to run. That's how it works by default. If you want the script to fall off and not queue up, you can just check this. Well, it's the same thing for broadcast messages. So you can say like, hey, reboot happening tonight. And then whatever you want in here, just a long body about, you know, this is going to happen. It's going to be an hour maintenance. So make sure you save your work, whatever it is. And you send it, and it's actually, it pops up as the topmost window. You have to get out of it. It won't let you do anything else. And then this same functionality, don't know if you knew this, Scott, but this is a cool one too. If you want to do this via scripting, like we had a small casino that operated 24 hours a day. A lot of our maintenance scripts were designed to work like at 3 o'clock in the morning. For them, every time was important. So you can actually, in that PowerShell scripting stuff that I showed you guys earlier, I'll bring one up here really quick. Somewhere in here is this one. You can actually send broadcast messages right from the script. So if you were about to start something that was going to make their machine run like a dog because it's going to do like heavy maintenance, you can just pop up a message with the script. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing. You can even choose to log it to the asset activity if you want to have a log of what you did, and then it'll go ahead and do its thing. So it's really cool that it's built in here. This kind of thing really allows you to get a lot more mileage out of a typical, you know, script, which is really not what we're doing here.
Very nice. I got to brush up on my scripting skills, but my scripting skills go as far as creating a text, a notepad text file, and then ending it in .bat. So that's it.
Well, the good news is you don't have to have, like Andy said earlier, you don't need a degree in scripting. I have absolutely no experience in the tech industry, and I can say I have run scripts inside of Syncro, so it can be done.
Awesome. Well, I am excited to dive in. And anything else you want to share with the community before we call it a day?
Oh, you're asking for it, Scott. We're just
I know.
No, I think we hit the highlights. Now, again, it's very hard to show you the full depth and breadth of what we do in an hour. But definitely, like I said, she's awesome, and she will respond to you. Probably shouldn't say this, but she will respond to you all hours of the day. She doesn't care. She just wants our customers to be happy. So she will definitely get you that customized, you know, one-on-one experience that you need to really understand if Syncro is going to be for you. And I will say this too, and I probably get me in a little bit of trouble, but we really believe that if this product isn't for you, we're not going to try to sell it to you. All I care about is making MSPs more money. And if it's not going to happen on our platform, I'm not going to tell you that it is. I hate when other companies do that to me, whether it's an MSP product or anything else. We don't do that. If it's not for you, we're going to tell it's not for you. And we're going to keep a list of your name, and we are going to try like hell to make our product for you, but we won't reach out again until it is. That's how we operate.
Yep.
Awesome. That's very respectable. Can't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
So excellent. Well, I certainly appreciate y'all taking the time. There's that y'all again. I certainly appreciate y'all taking the time to meet with us and share your platform, Syncro platform, with our members. So again, if anyone is interested in learning more about Syncro, just send them an email to sales@syncromsp.com, and be sure to let them know that you heard about them and that you saw today's demo, and let them know what was the best thing about it. So awesome. Well, thank y'all so much, and I'll get this recording over to everyone shortly.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you so much. Thanks for having us.
Sounds good. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your day.
Take care, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.